Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And after talking so much the last days, the last videos about this Zap Lalo strategy, this Lightning Lalo strategy, I finally want to do an in-depth guide on that. So all of those important questions: when should you use an Ice Golem? Is using an Ice Golem better than using no Ice Golem? How do you plan the Lightnings? How do you plan the Lalo? How do you plan the hero part of this attack? All of those good tips in this video, and we're talking about questions like how many loons should you deploy on every single defense, what is like what are your numbers over there, all of those questions. But before we're taking a look at the attacks and we're jumping into the video, I want to have a quick reminder for you guys because, well, there's a new gold pass, and if you're thinking about buying the new gold pass, buying any of the offers which are right now in the shop, make sure to use a creator code. It supports us creators a lot, and well, make sure to use your favorite creator out there, and if it's me, it's code ITSU. Thank you guys so much for that. And now one more thing before we're jumping in, and that's with this new gold pass there was a new hero skin, which was the Pirate King. And with this there was one big thing leaked, kinda, I would say, in this announcement video of Supercell, and that's, well, this cool looking thing. I don't know, it kind of looks like a pirate lagoon or something like that. I don't know, I hope that's the right English word, but that would be a pretty cool new scenery. I have to say, with like the theme of the year and everything, I would have liked to have like a Halloween background, like with graveyards and everything. That would have been so damn cool, but I don't know, I guess the pirate lagoon is coming first. Let's see if it's coming. So far it's not in the gold pass, but still looks pretty cool. Let's see if it's coming. But now let's get started with the attacks. And today I'm doing it a little bit different than normal. Normally I'm always showing you guys the live footage, the live actual attack basically. But today we're doing it different. Today I want to do it as a guide for you guys. So after this video, I hope most of you guys at least understand the thinking behind this strategy and understand what exactly you should do getting into an attack and what you should look out for first. So the first thing when I'm doing Zap Lalo, that's obviously not the highest level, but still the default thing is taking a look at this at the buildings which are surrounding the clan castle. On this one, well, we have archer towers too, we have 2 expos and a multi-infernal tower. So what do we do? First off, I'm using the lightnings for those 4 buildings. The reason is, I don't know, I guess because they're closer together, so it's less likely that I'm missing the lightnings, but that's basically it. I mean, it's basically 50-50 where you're going, but that's the lightnings. Then, what do you do after that? Like, what is the follow-up? What do you go for with your heroes? And most of the time, I'm kind of looking at the flanks of the lightning spell. So basically, as soon as we use the lightnings for the clan castle, I'm looking at the flanks of those lightnings, which basically means for us on the left or on the top side. Because we use the lightnings to the left side of the clan castle, I'm taking a look at the left side of the base. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to walk the entire side basically with my heroes without doing actually queen charge. So what I'm doing over here, and this is kind of the goal which I want to try to get, what I'm doing over here, and now I'm kind of playing the replay for you guys, is first off, using the lightning, always make sure that you're splitting up the lightning spells, so you just use the amount which you need for every single building, and then you can use the earthquake to damage everything else. And now the goal, like I said, was to have the king walk the outside, the royal champion to clear the inside, because my king won't get this ground expo. And now I'm using a couple of loons just to make sure that those Tesla are gone, and with them being gone, the royal champion should follow this path. And now I try to wall break the queen in, use the king abilities, so he's like, I don't know, like going ahead of the queen. So the queen is going into the compartment. And guys, never be afraid of using a freeze in the hero part, especially when you can take out a scatter, for example. So far everything looks good, right? Like we got the entire left side basically, and this Sui is without an ice golem. That's something which is pretty important to note, I guess. But now the queen should be able to take down the skeletons. And from this point on, the question would be kinda, where do we start the Lalo? Because that's an important thing. Whenever I did like a Lalo guide or something, or like a strategy guide, you guys were asking, how do we play the Lalo? And that's now something which I want to talk more about on this video. The question is, where do we start? Top left or bottom right? You guys have a couple of seconds, and where do we start? Where do we start? Yes, we start at the top left. Now I will explain why exactly, because I mean, both entries, like we have sweepers on both entries, we have the eagle first on the bottom side, so it should be better to start from the bottom, right? Not really. So when you're doing an Lalo attack, you obviously have to look out for more things than just the eagle. Especially the eagle is most of the time pretty easily tanked by the hounds. Then the next thing is kind of when you're going in there, from this angle, from the bottom right, the first hero which you target with your headhunters is the king. And now, because that's always the thing, how do we take out the enemy queen or the enemy heroes in general? And that's always what we have the headhunters for. And on this one, if we start from the bottom side with our Lalo, the king will always tank those headhunters. And this is why it's way easier if we start from the top side. And you guys can see, we will zoom in a second. The headhunters are over there, killing the queen. Easy peasy, queen is gone, base is gone. That's always the same approach. And always remember, killing the queen, killing the enemy royal champion is really important. And if you have to start from a kind of off angle or like a strange way, always do that, because having the headhunters on the king is not always the best thing to happen. So that's why I started from this side and worked out pretty well, right? So let's take a look at the second attack. And then in the third one, we will talk about, should you guys use an ice golem or not? Because the first two attacks which I'm showing right now, they're done without ice golem. So when do we use an ice golem? All of those good things, I will talk about that in a second. One more time, where do we use the lightnings for? And one more time, we do split the lightnings first. So what we do over here, I'm trying to damage the Expo. I could have zapped and used the earthquake for the air defense as well, but I guess the earthquake is too small for me to hit this air defense. I mean, come on, like you can actually miss an earthquake. To be honest, no, like you should never ever miss an earthquake. But yeah, well, that was just Itsu things, I guess. Either way, we try to sui this still. And now one more time, we try to take a look at the flanks of the zaps. Obviously, sometimes you can do it like a little bit out of the box and do the sui on the other side, and then kind of try to do like this Lalo in between of those two. But on this one, with the two sweepers, that's a big no-no. Like, we should not even consider that. Now, what do we do? I start my king off on the left side, and I want to have my king walking in, and as soon as the king is tanking everything, well, then I can add my queen. But now the queen is kind of on the outside without being or having access to the inside. But with how the walls are structured, we can easily wall break her in. I'm using a couple of runes on the outside to get my queen even deeper into the base, kinda. And then my goal at this point is to get the scatter and get the sweeper. And that's why I'm using delayed the royal champion onto the the ground expo. That was the word which I was missing. Onto the ground expo, and this means it gives me access to the sweeper. And now something really lucky for me is happening. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the attack, to be honest, but still it's really nice for me, and that's the queen is walking onto the inside. Now with this in mind, it's already pretty nice because we get the eagle out of the way. And now the question is, once again, I will pause in a second, but where do you start with the Lalo? From the top side or from the bottom side? Which is the best way to go for? And do you guys have the right answer? Where do we start? Yes, we start from the top side. The reasoning is once again pretty much the same as the last time. We have our headhunters. We want to get our headhunters on top of the enemy heroes. And well, there's this stupid king running around at the bottom side, so we do not want to bother with him. So that's why I'm starting from the top side. The next thing, now I'm talking about the loon deployment. You always want to have this really big group of loons at the beginning, which is basically having always a straight pathing through the base. And that's pretty much like a mini game in the Lalo itself. The mini game is you have a big group. You're kind of beefing the first big group up, which means like this is our first big group, which kind of exists out of the first groups. And now our mini game is this loon group always needs to go straight forward. Always forward, not to the flank, not to the left, not to the back, always through the base. Just straight. And this is something like the mini game, which I said is that you achieve that. And you're achieving this with always adding small groups of loons on the outside. Those small group of loons normally consist in between of 3 to 4 loons, because most of the time you need like 3 loons for those defenses to get one shot. And especially in a Zap Lalo, you have the amount of loons. So you're starting off kind of with like a couple of 4 loon drops, and then you're adding always up to like round about 3 loons for every single defense. That's normally the way to go. And you see once again, big overkill once again. And this is how you do it. I will talk one more time on the last attack about this loon pathing and this kind of like mini game, how I would call it, because that's kind of a nice way of looking at it. But either way, this was the next triple. So let's take a look at the next one. But this time we're attacking with an ice golem. And this is kind of like a mindset question. Is the ice golem better? Should everyone use an ice golem for Zap Lalo? The simple answer to this question is no. Zap Lalo with or without an ice golem is completely, pretty much the same. It's all about the approach to the base and what exactly you're going for with your heroes. So for example, can you guys remember the first base? We have at the top left side this clan cache, at the bottom right side the eagle with all of the enemy heroes. Well, if you have ice golems, you can go for all of those heroes. If you don't have ice golems, you cannot. So it's always kind of this approach to the base which you need if you have ice golems or not. That's always kind of the important thing. On this base is kind of, well, easy to say we would just use the lightnings for the 2 scatters and everything. But hey, since we have an ice golem, we can approach it on a different way. So what I'm doing over here is I'm first using the lightnings for the 2 bottom buildings with the clan castle, which means scatter and ground expo, and then using the lightnings to kill all of the sweepers. With this in mind, you guys can see I actually zapped a ground expo over another scatter shot. The reasoning for that is pretty simple, to be honest, because we have an ice golem this time, which means we have more power for our Sui. So this scatter is going to go down 100%. And because we can make sure that the scatter is living, we can kind of get more value out of this overall. So that's pretty nice. And well, that's, like I said, this ice golem, no ice golem thing is kind of like the approach on how you guys would like to do the hero part. If you say you really like to have those heavy hero parts where you take a lot out of the base, then just go for the ice golem. If you're saying, hey, I don't like that too much, like I have more like those small Suis with like trying to go in between of those weak points of the base, then that's the next option which you have. So it's always up to you. Both are totally fine. And well, now let's talk about once again about the Lalo. We have 3 drop points in the beginning. The 1 cannon, the 2 archer towers. And those loons which are now grouping up is our main push. And that's kind of the goal, just push them through the core. What do we need to do for that? Well, we need to have a couple of groups of loons from the outside pushing everything in. And that's, like I said, that's the mini game. This inside big group of loons is supposed to never go back. It's always have to go, right? Always in a straight line, basically, once again. So we always have to like use a couple of loon groups on the outside. And that's pretty much it. Always, like I said, those groups on the outside, kind of in between out of 2 to 4 balloons, and that's it. Once again, really big overkill. And I know it sounds pretty easy, and it's actually not, but still, that's kind of the things which you have to look out for. I hope this video was really helping you guys to get better at using the Zap Lalo, the Lightning Lalo strategy, which is right now the #1 strategy in the game, if you can master it. And well, I think we did pretty good today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a lot of things. And if you have any more questions, like if I skipped anything, let me know down below in the comments and I will try to answer those. Well, that's basically it for today. Make sure to use the creator code when you're buying the new Gold Pass. It's code ITZU if you want to support me. Thank you guys so much. And I will see you guys back tomorrow. Until then, see ya and bye bye.